Mm-mm-mm. Guys, welcome to Dirty Talk with Nana.
Welcome all. This is the first ever episode of Dirty Talking with Nana here. And we figured we'd just kick it off by just explaining that, we wanted to start a podcast, obviously, and thought we'd have a lot of fun with it and just talk about, things that happen across the league, trades, matchups, arguments, whatever it may be. We'll talk about it. Feel free to have people join, the podcast and express their opinions and, obviously just have a good time doing so. So,
Yep, I'm looking forward to it. I think this is gonna take our league to the next level with excitement and just camaraderie of it, and just everyone getting involved. And obviously, like during the season, we want to keep this going. And so, but today is more of like a preview of what's to come. We want to see how our offseason was coming into the future. We got some confident teams out there. I know I'm one of them. I know Marty's another one of them, and a couple more of you guys. And there's some teams that need to pick up the slack, but we'll figure that out. We'll talk about it on this podcast, and it'll be some nice, good old fun. So looking forward to it, Marty. Talking about breakout players this year, like what teams are going off, and just all the fantasy. Finally get to talk about it. I'm excited, man.
yeah, I mean, we'll always, be thinking of ideas to do for the podcast and, have guests on whenever they really want. So like I said, we're both excited about it. We figured we just, jump right in and just talk about, our rankings as far as, how teams have done in this offseason and what's going to be in store for the
Yeah,
upcoming. So
Marty and I, we went all out for this, boys. We hired a couple nerds from some algorithm firm, and
wasn't cheap.
it wasn't cheap. It spit out some numbers at us, and it's our preseason rankings. And there's one man that we're going to start talking about first, when you put it that way. And that man is none other than Mr. B Money from over in New York. How you doing, Brendan? Let's talk about you, kid. Um, Star power right off the bat there with Mahomes. Like, it's a nice guy, right, Marty?
Yeah, I mean, with Brian, we decided to rank first, but there's a lot of things we do really like about your team. Obviously, just starting out, right off with quarterback Patrick Mahomes, ranked number 3 quarterback. You know, obviously it's an asset that you love to have in sleeper. So the sad part about Brendan's team and kind of the trend in general is
Who's the backup? Who's the
there's
backup,
not
Marty?
really a lot of depth going on there. We
No.
got, a jump off from a PPR rank of 49 to 392 from Mahomes to Teddy Bridgewater as your second option. So
Yeah.
it's a trend that, what we're going to talk a lot about because, moving on to running backs. I mean, a great 1-2 punch.
Hell of a 1-2
You know,
punch. I couldn't agree more. Eckler, Kamara. They're two guys you want to start every week, automatic starters, just PPR machines too. But Marty, who's behind them?
Yeah, I mean, we got a steep drop from 26 PPR rank to 243 as your third option, Brennan, and Dearness Johnson and Mike Davis. What the hell's going to happen?
Yeah.
This upcoming year. So, the trend that I keep seeing with Brennan's team is every time I look at your third option, your fourth option, and I just get more and more nervous. So
yeah, I agree. Especially at receiver, you got the number one player, man. Congrats, Cooper Cup, amazing, fantastic year last year. Marty had him in Yahoo to help him win it, but behind him, better hope for Devontae Parker, man, because I don't know how him and Mac are going to be doing. Hopefully good, for all you Pats fans out there. But just that depth, man, we got to work on that. I know you got the number 6 draft pick, I think.
yeah, 6, 19, and 29.
You got to hit on that, man. You got to hit on that number 6. Draft yourself a nice player there and get some starting ability, because now with the new format here and 3 flexes, it's gonna be we need some depth on these teams. So
Yeah, and I think the reason why we ranked Brendan the way that he is, which we'll reveal shortly, is just because with the recent rule changes, it's definitely kind of made Brendan's team, I would say, worse. So just because of the question marks that you have as those backup options. So I do think it's interesting that you out of wide receivers, obviously Cooper Kupp is ranked number one, and he is for a wide receiver rank. But it goes from you have Devontae Parker at 58, and then after that it's 70s, high 70s, and all the way up to hundreds of wide receivers when it comes to AJ Dillon, Odell, Randall Cobb, like just players that you don't really know how they're going to perform in the year.
It's going to be interesting this year for sure with Brendan. So best of luck to you in the future here is what I would say to him, Marty, right?
Yeah.
Just get on those picks, man, and hopefully you can contend here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting, Brennan. It's going to be interesting how you draft. I think that's really going to –
that's your next step, man. So it's coming forward.
Drafting or kind of moving something around. So, when it comes to our rankings, we basically –
it was neck and neck.
Added up our rankings, divided up into two, and Brennan, we ranked you at 9.5. So.
Yep. Right there with that 9.5 is I think the next team we want to talk about here, and I think Mr. Berrigan, how you doing there? And
hey, Alex.
Listen, Alex. You know the deal here, man. You got some young, promising talent here, and I think you're on the come up. I really do. I think I'm one of the people that is here to give you credit on your team because I see the potential in there, and I know pick number 12 is your first one this year, and just got to nail a starter in there, and I think you're in good shape. Hopefully, those running backs, man. But starting with Derek Carr, middle of the pack, Marty.
Yeah.
Nothing too exciting there for you.
I mean,
the promise is down at the bottom of that little list. Number 3, Zach Wilson there.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I'll say this about the difference really between Alex and Brendan. I feel like Brendan is riding the back seat.
What he's got.
He's not really too active when it comes to the waivers.
I see a future here.
But Alex, I would say Alex is a little bit more attuned to free agency and kind of making decisions with his team, whether it's trading or picking people up. So as of right now, I mean, there's a lot of things Alex has as far as player assets, but draft pick wise, I'd be a little nervous. But just starting off the board, I mean, like Hugo said, we'll start with Derek Carr. I mean, quarterback ranked number 14 in the league as your one. And, truthfully speaking, I just feel like there's, when you think about Derek Carr as your one, there's a lot of
hope with
quarterbacks out there
with the backups that they brought in, Devontae Adams, he's nothing to sneeze at. And with Waller, hopefully they mesh. But Zach Wilson, hopefully he hits, man. And comes up big for you.
I mean, I would say Derek Carr, I mean, he's obviously got arguably the best wide receiver in football now.
Yeah.
So, you just got Devontae Adams on that team. So, the futures, I would say, is right for Derek Carr. Like, last year, he was kind of middle of the pack, but you could definitely probably see him moving into the top 10.
What do you think at running back there, Marty? Just the one there.
I mean, yeah, this is kind of where you get into the trouble here, where we look at running backs. Obviously, DeAndre Swift is a talent, and he's ranked number 8 as running backs go, so just a great asset to have.
Big time. I couldn't agree.
But when you think about depth, kind of similar to Brennan's case, Kenneth Gainwell, he goes from DeAndre Swift being ranked number 8 to a 48, and then to a 49. And Jamal Williams. So this is kind of where the trouble is. I would say with Alex's team is like he's definitely got assets that are good, but his running backs is going to probably be trouble. I guess Trey Sermon, you don't really know where things are going to go in the future with him. But last year, he was definitely right in the backseat behind Elijah Mitchell. So I don't.
And the receiver room and on Alex's team, I think Elijah Moore is one of the up and coming breakout players.
Yep.
I think he's fantastic, and I'm very excited to watch him this year. I think Alex does a real gem in Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I mean, Alex has got a lot of young receivers, and I mean that's obviously a bright thing to have, in a sleeper league. But um, as of right now, there's just a lot of unproven players, and I think that's kind of why Alex's team is kind of tough to rank in a certain way. But
and I think
that's why we're at the same time we're still pretty optimistic about.
Yeah, I mean I like
Alex
Rondale Moore too. Maybe he'll be featured more with no D Hop the first 6 weeks over there. So
yeah, and then obviously Terry. I mean, the problem with him obviously is going to be quarterback situation, but he was getting it done last year, so hopefully he can do the same.
yeah,
And I would say one of the brighter spots about Alex's team is tight ends.
yeah, big time. I like both of them. Hawkinson before his injuries last year was looking pretty good, and then Pat Fryermuth, that's probably one of the top 2 or 3 young tight ends you want to have on your roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, as far as sleeper goes, that's a wonderful asset. That's the type of tight end that you really want.
This is the promise
young and talented.
I see in Alex that I didn't see in Brendan, and why I think we put him where he was and Alex where he is. So I mean, just hit on those picks. That's what I got to say about Alex's team.
Yeah, and obviously, like Brendan and Alex, we both rank through a 9.5 when it comes down to it. But obviously, things change in this league very often with injuries and trades and whatever else comes up. But it'd be interesting to see how your teams go. I would say Alex is, like I said, he's a little bit more intensive with that kind of stuff. So
yep.
Brennan is too. I guess they have competition in the back.
I agree. So next team I think we want to bring to the forefront here is our champ, Dylan.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
So he came in 7th here, and the starters are there, but again I see an aging team here, and I mean trading for Jalen Hurts I think was your great move of the offseason. I love Jalen Hurts. Totally non-biased there of why I love Jalen Hurts, but I think his team's going to do really well this year, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan, just in general, rating the teams were pretty tough. And I would say, because there are really, a lot of good teams out there. And I still think Dylan's still a great team. We did technically rank you with an overall score of an 8, which is the 3rd lowest. But obviously, Jalen Hurts, I think there was some question marks about whether he was going to stay the starter. And
yeah, I think he's definitely solidified it.
Yeah, I think he's got it now. So
he definitely has it. Reading up on a lot of Philly media, and then I mean you'll probably start Brady some weeks, and man still got it. So I think you're good at quarterback going into this year. But besides Goff, I think we'll be seeing some quarterbacks picked up by Dylan in the future here. That's what I got to say on his QBs, the running backs. Miles Sanders and Edwards-Helaire here. What else do you see over here, Marty?
I mean, I think Miles Sanders, he really didn't do too wonderfully last year. So I guess it's
a contract year for him this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully that kind of drives him to do somewhat better in the upcoming year. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think he's, obviously great offense. It's going to be easy for them to.
A lot of depth behind him now.
Yeah.
There's a loaded RB room there.
Yeah.
So wide receivers, I mean, Keenan Allen is as consistent as it gets. So is Brandon Cooks, who weird how he's like only 28 and been in the league for like what feels like 10 years.
Yeah. And I think this is really where Dylan's team kind of shines, is really at wide receivers. He's got obviously Keenan Allen, Adam Thielen,
who knows how long Thielen has, to be honest.
It's an interesting core to
Renfro was a good pickup. Disappointing Kelly Golladay. And then Julio Jones with Tom Brady.
Now Julio all of a sudden,
it's gonna blow my mind here.
Before the signing, obviously, I think Dylan's team was kind of middle of the pack with wide receiver, but now on a little bit above that,
Yep.
especially with, Julio
And
is possibly the fourth option with
Yeah,
Tyler Boyd. I think those are, and then
tight
you
end.
have Cooks, Allen.
Tight end, I think
Thielen.
he's good with Waller and Ertz, obviously startable now.
Yeah.
Big Al over in Denver has Russell Wilson coming in. I think he's got solid tight ends here, Marty.
Oh, I mean, he might have some of the best in the league, honestly, I would say. I mean, he's got Waller.
I think he has 3 starters for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Waller performs now that Adams is there. Obviously Adams is going to be taking a lot of the target share. So
he could see a little more, couple more targets.
Yeah, all of a sudden Adams starts getting double covered and moving the ball downfield, and maybe Waller gets more touchdowns too. So it's going to be interesting to see how that offense performs, and I think it's going to be interesting for Dylan and Alex really, because they have some of the bigger players on on that team. So
I agree. The draft picks here are lacking.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
tough
obviously,
here, Dylan.
like Dylan
Going
went in last year with kind of like a win now.
And he got it done. He's a champ for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. He went in, he got it done. His draft picks are lacking. I still think he could definitely sneak in with that wide receiver core and get back up to the top. But we still, like I said, there's a lot of good teams out there, and I just think that on paper, I just didn't think Dylan was one that I would bet on. How about that?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Marty. I'm right there with you. What the algorithms spit out next at us, Marty?
So the next team we'll talk about, and kind of more on the Raiders subject, I guess, is Vinny's team to a certain degree. But we ultimately gave a final rank to Vince of a 7, which is the 4th lowest. Which is kind of tough because, truthfully, like looking at Vinny's team, I do like Vinny's team.
He's got a team that can win now. He really does.
Yeah.
And that's what was tough putting Vinny down here. Because obviously he's built a good team here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when there's a conversation
in the past,
who had a better team, Vinny and Alex, I would no offense to you, Alex, but I'd much rather have a team. I think I
can't wait for this matchup.
When we look at his quarterback situation, I think Vinny's got the best quarterback situation in the sleeper
by
league.
far.
So
Vinny,
Lamar,
has all the
Dak,
quarterbacks,
and Trey Lance, with Deshaun Watson as the 4th, who's miraculously got a 6-day suspension, right? So, I mean, he'll be back. So Vinny's going to have options.
Yeah.
And, at week 6, maybe somebody needs a quarterback. Vinny trades away Deshaun. Something I can see it happening. I literally see something like
right
that.
now. And I've told Vinny to his face, I love the fact he has all of these quarterbacks on his team, because that just means my other opponents do not.
Yeah.
And not playing against some of these quarterbacks on a given week. And let me tell you, thank you, Vinny. That's all I got to say. Way to hoard them. I think you're going to be really happy with Trey Lance this year. And I think your quarterbacks are covered for the foreseeable future. I don't see Vinny picking up any.
Yeah, and the real, I mean, one of the biggest reasons why we ranked Vinny the way that we did, and I feel like just looking at his team, like the running back situation is kind of a glaring problem.
You need running backs
looking at it. So obviously he's got Nick Chubb, which is wonderful. I mean, he's ranked number 13 for running backs.
Yeah, I mean, just outside RB1 territory, really.
Yeah.
But
I think he's still clearly an RB1, but I think obviously like he's splitting carries.
Right on the edge.
Yeah, he's splitting carries with Hunt, and sometimes it can be a little unpredictable as far as.
And I think they're going to trust him more, especially with Deshaun out the first couple of weeks. So. I see a good start to Nick Chubb
I think
season.
that's true. I mean, I feel like they're going to be more run focused for at least the first 6 weeks. But I mean, they have Kareem Hunt as well, so it's 2 big mouths to feed.
Big fall off after that.
All of a sudden, if they go down, I feel like Kareem Hunt is going to be getting the.
Yeah, he's an automatic RB1.
Yeah, he's going to be the one getting a lot of the carries and a lot of the play actions and that kind of stuff too. So a lot of passes. So I mean, like I said, Kareem Hunt. Or sorry, Nick Chubb, number 13, and then his second option, Devin Singletary, and then third option, Alexander Madison. So it's
both. He needs an upgrade at running back, and
now it's going to be interesting to see how the Bills do with Cook's brother now.
I'm going on a limb and saying that he's going to take him number 4. I'm speaking that into existence.
I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. I mean, Vinny is desperate for running back, so it kind
Yep.
of helps him,
Yep.
with a handcuff as well. James Robinson, it seems like he's kind of fallen off a bit, and now it seems like ETN is probably going to be
Yeah. That
the guy. So
torn
it's
Achilles. I'm about to go through my first season from a torn Achilles with Cam Akers here, so I feel for you too. Team Achilles.
yeah. Then after that, it's really Chubb, Singletary, Madison,
Yeah.
Robinson, and
Then the wide receivers on his team are.
I
I'm
say
very
so.
jealous.
Vinny's quarterback situation, I would say, is the best. His wide receiver
Yeah.
situation, I would say, is close to the best, if
Close to the
not
best.
the best.
He's right up there.
Obviously, Devontae Adams. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see how the Raiders perform.
Yep.
Just as a team in general, with Devontae Adams there. Hoping for the best. I mean, Adams is honestly one of my favorite wide receivers to watch in the league. So hope he does okay. But I guess you never really know until you see it.
Yeah, and I agree. CeeDee Lamb, very young, exciting wide receiver. The whole world is high on him. I've always been high on CeeDee Lamb. I think this is going to be the best year of his career, and I think Vinny's going to be real happy
I think
with
CD is going to go off this
CeeDee
year.
Lamb
And then
this year.
also, I mean, he's got Pittman, also young, talented.
Yeah, young, talented.
And
He's
Devonta
supposed
Smith too, which is also like,
and Amon
might
Ross
not be,
Brown. All those
in the
guys
same category as Pittman and Lamb and Adams, but I think he's
they're expected to
up
produce
and
this
coming.
year.
He's still a strong asset. Still, like, he's probably like a wide receiver 2, maybe borderline, close to wide receiver 3. But I mean, as a 4th option, that's still really good.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Tight ends is always kind of tough to look at because, I mean, a lot of teams only have a few of them. But he's got Mark Andrews. He's got Noah Fant.
Number one tight end last year. Great tight end situation. I don't see Mark Andrews getting moved anytime soon off Vinny's team.
No, he's stuck. I mean, the Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews combo.
It's a hell of a stack. It really is one of the best in the league, Lamar and Andrews. So it's a nice problem to have. Noah Fant, we'll see. He leaves Seattle to go. Leaves Denver to go play in Seattle. We'll see how he does with Drew Locker, Geno Smith. Who knows? But Austin Hooper is getting a lot of hype in Tennessee. We'll see how he takes over some AJ Brown catches this year from the tight end position, and Uzman no one higher on CJ Uzman than Vinny, and he'll tell you.
Yeah, I don't think he is though, because he's tried to trade him to everybody in the league. No one's biting. Fans, just drop him. It's gonna come down to you just dropping him.
Just dropping him, dude.
But
the twinkle in Vinny's eye, as I like to always say, is his draft picks. Incredible farm.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something to obviously keep an eye on. Like Vinny definitely has some trouble at running back, but at the same time, he's got draft picks. And I mean, when you're looking at Vinny's team, and when we rated them, I don't think that we're not really looking at your draft picks. We're just looking at your team now. So obviously, when you have 4, 8, 10, like that's a lot of change that could be coming very quickly. So
I expect Vinny. If I can say this about Vinny's team in this ranking, I would say that I would bring him towards the very top.
I would say after this draft, Vinny's team is going to be very, very different on paper. So
it could change.
It's going to be interesting to see how it changes. Vinny's done well when it comes to drafting talent. I think Trey Lance is going to have a great year. I think he's got obviously Pittman and CeeDee Lamb, and all he needs really is just to kind of hit the nail on the head when it comes to running back, and his team is going to be looking really good.
Real good. So Vinny, think of it as motivation, guy.
Calling it out. Vinny's looking for a running back. He's drafting running back at 4, so whoever's available for him.
Yep.
He's not getting Kemba, I don't think. Someone's going to take him before that.
Somebody did. I agree. I want to say the next pick before we get to it, Marty, was I think it was determined by the draft that happened today, to give a little sneak peek.
Yeah, so we did kind of change this pick around a little bit, and because of the trade that happened today, which is Jorge being ranked in our power ranking as 6.
Yes, Jorge coming ahead here, which means, to spoil it, Matt, we'll talk about you next year, guy. But let's get to Jorge first. If I can say, besides Justin Herbert, there's no other quarterback I'd rather have than Josh Allen.
I'll say this too. So the clean numbers 8, 7, 6 is because me and Hugo both ranked you in the same position. So I guess that's a little bit more, I don't know, I guess something to be said. But
Yeah, you guys were neck and neck. You really were.
Now, as far as I mean, Josh Allen, obviously I'll say this about Jorge's
Stud.
team. Like obviously one of the best quarterbacks, if not
Number
the
one
best,
quarterback.
yeah, in the
Number
league.
one
He is
quarterback.
technically ranked QB1.
Yeah, and
Um,
I agree with it. He's got the total
yeah,
package.
yep, and I would agree with that too. Like obviously, like honestly, any that offense in general is just
Yes,
it's good to have assets from that offense.
I agree.
Obviously, Josh Allen is the centerpiece. I'll say this, Jorge, like you've made a lot of trades in the last I don't even know, 3 or 4 years now, and
Yeah,
your team seems to get better from each trade that you make.
yeah,
So
yeah.
on paper, when we were looking at this, we kind of thought to
Yeah.
ourselves that okay, looks like Matt kind of won this deal,
Yeah.
but like I
I'm coming
said,
around to
you've traded with
Jorge's
me, you've
side.
traded with Vinny. I think you've traded with
I've
Jorge.
traded with Jorge.
Yeah, like, and I feel like you
Thanks for Waddle.
your way to make the most out of the trades you make. So,
Yeah.
um,
Just move to his running backs here. The guy that I traded him from courtesy of Dylan, the champ, Travis Etienne. Lot of hype here, Marty.
yeah, I mean, it's the things that are being said about him already before the season starts is it's leading to a lot of optimism about where the 2022 year is going to bring him.
Yeah.
I would say definitely a great asset to have right now. It's crazy to think, 2 years ago, I think he was drafted like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, no, third round, dude.
Third,
Third
yeah,
round.
third
Third
round.
round.
Something crazy. Like I was like, wow, that was a great draft pick. And
And
Dylan, you got him, you traded him away. It didn't seem like you wanted anything to do with
Yeah.
him. But I think
he's a hot commodity.
I was gonna say somebody might be regretting something this year.
Yeah,
I think
big
he's
time.
here. And then
Antonio Gibson.
I mean, that's a good two. I
Yep.
had him last year. He was kind of
I like him. I like him. I really do.
But he kind of at the end of the year, found his way and started producing some good points. So I think that's a good two. Rashawn Penny, all of a sudden he's being talked
Solid.
about. He's going to be getting a lot of carries. I ended up dropping him last year.
Yeah, right at the end.
I feel like I'm going to regret that, but
Mm.
I really like Daryl Henderson. He's ranked number 44, but I had him last year. He had a wonderful year, put up a lot of consistent points, which is really what you look for when running back.
Hey Jorge, call me.
And then he just traded for Josh Jacobs. So
Yep. So I think the Jacobs is going to help his running back situation. Should one of those guys go down, so
Yeah.
I think he helped his situation here because his wide receivers he took a hit here trading Mike Evans, but I think he is the best receiver that he had that isn't the number one and number two like best young receivers in the league. So I mean, look at this, Marty.
Truthfully speaking, I thought you, Jorge, had the best receiving core in the league before you traded away Mike Evans. And then without Mike Evans, I think what you traded away, you got more in running back, which I think was kind of obviously the weaker point of your team, which is obviously good.
Yep.
But now, I mean, you go from Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase,
studs
as your 1, 2, 3 to now Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Robert Woods,
and now Michael Thomas probably.
Probably
well,
I guess Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I mean Michael Thomas, if he comes back and is
there's definitely. It seems like there is a lot of optimism about him coming back, which is obviously what you want to hear. But obviously, Olaf is coming into that offense now too, so it's gonna be interesting to see how
either way. And then
he takes up some of the timeshare there. So.
We'll see what about Kirk. I'm iffy about him. Maybe he lives up to the hype. I think he's a top 10 paid wide receiver right now, and I hate
honestly
to think about
kind of crazy. I feel like he's.
I hate to think about it.
He's definitely a guy that could definitely put up points, but I don't think he's the guy who's going to do it on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
So you're going to be really gambling with him, and I guess you got to really look at the matchups. But
what do you think of the tight ends here? Gesicki, he got franchise tagged.
Yeah, I mean, Gesicki, I really like. It's I think Hugo just disconnected, so we'll wrap it up with this. Gesicki, we both agree is a good tight end, obviously have on your team. And then Hunter Henry is a two, honestly not too keen on as far as just, PPR value. But overall, Jorge, I think you still have a very good team. And I think you're still, if you placed in the, the top three or, ran away with the league this year, I wouldn't be too surprised. But I think there's still a lot of question marks to go with the team.
Yep. So I'm back. And let's see here. I agree with everything you said here. The draft picks, starting at 13, but I don't think you'll have a hard time replenishing that.
Yeah, truthfully speaking, I really do enjoy, the second round draft picks. Personally, I found a lot of, good players from the
Some
second
good
round.
value in there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of teams have. So, it does kind of, hurt the cause when you only have for second rounders and no
Yeah.
first. But
But I could see Jorge making a run this year at it for sure.
yeah, like I said, you're ranked number 6, but a lot of teams just have good teams.
Everyone can always move up or
Yeah,
move down.
just
I think
where you are right
can
now
also
before the
climb.
draft, this is where we feel like your team is.
Yeah.
But we'll call it at this point here. That's we're already halfway into it, so we'll just come up with the next 5 shortly. But hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. And like I said, if anything rubbed you the wrong way, if there's things you want to talk about, give us a shout out.
Yeah.
And, join the next one.
The chat's always open, guys.
Yeah,
Use it
we'll
more.
have fun with it. But thanks again for tuning in.